I know you've been trimming a growth forecast for a number of economies. In South Korea, are you doing the same thing? Because in terms of the virus, Omicron, just yesterday, Sunday, record number of cases, daily infections, 38,691. And if so, if you see growth slowing in South Korea, what does it mean for the BOK hiking into a slowing economy?
Well, we have been seeing record numbers of new cases, as you mentioned, in South Korea and a few other economies in the region, including Japan, Hong Kong, as a couple of other examples. That said, what's been interesting about this round of COVID is that the level of restrictions being put in place are generally a lot less severe than we've seen in prior waves, partly reflecting the higher level of vaccination and other protection against the virus, and the likely slightly lower severity of this strain. So while the number of cases at a record high, we don't think the economic effect will be at a record high. Now, to answer your question, we did cut our numbers at the very beginning of the year for a number of economies in the region, including South Korea, but only slightly, reflecting what we expect to be the impact of Omicron. We think that we'll see a relatively quick bounce back after the January, February, Q1 period. We think this wave will come down as we've seen it come down in other parts of the world, and activity will be able to rebound.
Okay, so what you're saying is Omicron, even if it does, even with the numbers that we're seeing right now, probably won't constrain central banks, including in South Korea, from tightening or hiking further. Is that what you're saying?
We do think there'll be a pause in South Korea, reflecting the political calendar to some degree. We have an election coming up, reflecting the fact that they've hiked a few times already. We think they'll resume later this year, but we do expect a hiatus here for the next few months in South Korea. But in general, yes, agree with what you said. You'll see only a short pause or only a short lag resulting from this wave in most economies. I do want to emphasize there's an exception. The zero COVID economies, mainly China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, maybe to some extent New Zealand, that have been trying to keep restrictions very tight and keep the virus out, that's going to be kind of a repeated effort over however long they choose to pursue that policy. So for those economies, I think you will see restrictions prolonged into the second quarter and maybe into the second half of the year, which will continue to weigh on consumer services activity in particular for a longer period of time and maybe have a longer lasting impact on the rate environment.